What's going on, folks? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and I have a DM's Guild review for you today. So today, I'll be talking about Veratrem's Tribal Siege, a Storm King's Thunder adventure. So as it says in the name there, it is designed to fit into Storm King's Thunder, and there's a couple of different parts where you can put it into the campaign, but you could also run it as a standalone encounter if you want it. It is currently $4.95, although it's the DM's Guild Christmas and July celebrations, so you can get that for a reduced price of $4.21. If you scroll down, you can see it's only been out for a week at this point, and it has 7 reviews, which is actually a decent amount of reviews for something that's out for a week, and they are all 5 stars, so that goes something towards the quality. But it is a 33-page adventure. It has maps. It has, I guess, like one kind of new magic item as well, and a series of interesting encounters. You can also see right here it has a variety of different resources, which I really like. You have different maps that you can use to either import into a virtual tabletop or not. It has a couple things that are set up for player-based maps that are separate from the DM maps, and it has a print-friendly version and a standard version. So I thought we could just dive into it. First of all, bookmarks. Look at this, multiple steps of bookmarks and linked annotations throughout the document, which is pretty huge. So, if we were to scroll down here, you can see that all of the table of contents is linked. So if I were to click on any of this, it will take me to that section of the adventure, which is pretty exciting. And even see this where it says like Chapter 4. If I click this, it'll take me to Chapter 4. So I guess there's not really any major spoilers for Storm King's Thunder, but I guess I'll just throw it out like minor spoilers for Storm King's Thunder. But basically, this it can take place after Chapter 2 of Storm King's Thunder, or after Chapter 3, or part of it. And I'll show you, there's actually a nice flowchart in there to show that for you, similar to what we see in official adventures. I also wanted to say, speaking of official adventures, this is one of the best reproductions of a official 5th edition book. As you can see, the way all of the layout is, the text and everything, is very much reminiscent of what we have in official resources. So I think this is another one that kind of is unfortunate that the DM's Guild doesn't provide print on demand for everything, because this would be a nice printed thing to have, even if it was in softcover. But either way. So you can see it has a couple different adventure hooks here to get you into the game. And basically the overarching story is you're going to travel along the long road on the Sword Coast. You're going to have maybe some random encounters. You're going to have an encounter with some giants. You're going to make your way to the town of Wealdam, and then in the town, you'll eventually deal with some kobolds before you eventually take on the dragon that the adventure is named after, and then move on with your adventure. As I said, you could drop this into your own campaign anywhere you need it, but it is designed to integrate into Storm King's Thunder. So it says, it seamlessly hooks into Storm King's Thunder when the characters are ready to leave Tribor for the first time. When that is depends on your campaign. It could be right after the attack on Tribor in Chapter 2, or could be during Chapter 3 when the characters are exploring the north and have to come to the town for some reason. It also has a little bit here that you could start in Waterdeep as well. Gives you a little bit about what books you need to do. Here's a rundown of the adventure, which is basically what I just told you of the different chapters. It talks a little bit about how to use the maps, what's going to have Theater of the Mind, and here's this really nice flowchart that I really, really like. Which shows you, here it is, Storm King's Thunder Chapter 2 Rumblings, and you can either go from there. You basically have the option to go to one of 3 cities, Tribor, Golden Fields, or Bryn Shander, and it says you can go to Bryn Shander, which will lead you into Chapter 3, Golden Fields, which will lead you into Chapter 3, and then from there you can make your way over to Chapter 1 of this adventure, or go right from Tribor to here, and you can see, follow along all the different things to get back to Chapter 3, which is kind of like a sandboxy travel around the north. Also, it has a little bit of a breakdown here if you're going to use a virtual tabletop, what size grids to make, which I really enjoy that. We also have a full pronunciation guide, which is something we don't even necessarily get in official Wizards of the Coast adventures. Take a look at this. We've got full pronunciations for all of the characters introduced here, a breakdown to determine how it was designed for APL 6, but we have all of these different tasks for scaling things back to be very weak, to be very strong. I should say I skipped over that at the beginning, but this is designed for 3 to 7, 5th to 8th level adventurers is the design, what this adventure is designed around. So again, Chapter 1 is kind of getting you there. Chapter 2 is going to have random encounters along the long road, some of which can be handled via combat, some of which can be handled without combat. Then we're going to get to our giant encounter. You can see we have a different map here, and we have one that's Got numbers here, annotations for the DM, as well as ones without for the players. One thing I did want to talk about here is tactics. I've talked about this before, that I really like how in older editions it would give you sections for each individual monster in the monster manual and tell you this is how that monster works in combat, right? It's going to start off by doing X, then it's going to follow up with this. If it gets down to half health, it'll do that or this. And this adventure does that, at least for the two major encounters, the giants and the dragon. So that's a nice step in the right direction to things that I like to see in an adventure. We move on to the city of Wheeldam, where you can see there's a nice little map showing off all the different people, what kind of food and drink you can get. It's pretty much thought of all the kind of questions you would get as a DM. And I actually had a chance to speak with the creator this morning, and he basically told me, yeah, that's the case. He looked at this and designed this adventure from if he was going to run it or if he was going to play in it, what kind of questions and things does he think would come up so that he could make sure he addressed all of those things in this adventure. Or if he was to pick this up off the, basically off the street as a DM and say, oh man, why is this missing? He tried to make sure all of that was injected in here to make your life easier. So if we keep scrolling down, we can see there is this herbalist shop, which does have this chicory paste as kind of like a new magic item, as is the goodberry. I'll show you there at the end in the appendices, but either way. Then we have our kobolds encounters in the city. Then we kind of head off to the dragon's lair. And we have, again, right up at the front, all of the stuff we need to know about what, the standard stuff heading into it. We have a nice little set of tunnel trinkets and encounters for you to do on your way there. And this is a pretty serious set of encounters. And it deals with kobolds. Kobolds are one of my favorite creatures in Dungeons & Dragons. So I'm a little bit partial to that. We can scroll through. We do have full battle maps, as you can see here. Showing all the different areas, and again, everything's annotated here in the adventure. And if we scroll down, we eventually get to what we think is the final encounter here, which is the final encounter, the dragon. And as you can see, it tells us all about how things are going to work with fighting the dragon, the lair actions of the dragon, and this development section talks about what the dragon's going to do when you first encounter it, and as you make your way through the fight, and ways to scale up and down the encounter as well. And the treasure, it's nice. It actually gives everybody in the party a magic item. It says, here's a couple stuff. There's some different magic, or some gold and a couple of scrolls. And it says, furthermore, Veratrem has managed to include a few magic items in his hoard. There is one for each of the characters to determine each item. Roll on magic item table B, or let the player choose. And it says, what's next? With Veratrem slain or driven off from the area, the characters can return to Wheeldam to get some rest. There, they can hear rumors that will send them across the north in their quest to learn what's going on with the giants. And that's sort of been my only kind of complaint about Storm King's Thunder, is if you don't necessarily have players that like the concept of sort of open sandbox games where you can basically just go anywhere and the encounters are kind of wide open. This can kind of help provide you some structure there. Get them an idea. They've done sort of the intro stuff in Chapter 1, Chapter 2. You get them to come here, they kind of deal with this dragon, there's some giants involved, a little bit of backstory stuff, and even there are some of those random encounters you can run along, can tie into previous things that you may or may not have encountered, that helps spin up the concept of what's going on with the giants. And then they get to come back, relax in the town, hear rumors that you develop in there, because if you maybe want to send them in a specific direction out of here, this is an opportunity to drop some rumors to say, hey, I want you guys to go visit this place or that place because there's rumors spinning around in the town. And if we were to scroll down here, we can take a look at, again, here's all about the conclusion. The stat blocks are contained here, which are basically just the dragon shield and the scale sorcerer, which are from Volo's guide. Here is a breakdown of how spell scrolls work. And here's this chicory paste, which is, a minor kind of magic item that is basically, when applied to a wound with an action, the creature regains a D4 hit points. And it loses its potency after 24 hours. It's just kind of a nice thing. It's found in the herbalist shop. She kind of makes this paste, and it's a very low cost, little bit of healing. We also have a goodberry as an item, which again, it just restores 1 hit point, but it sustains you. Again, I also like the concept of people just selling goodberries. Like, hey, you're going to be traveling. This will heal you a hit point, but it'll also give you all the food you need for a day. Again, those lose their potency after 24 hours, and then standard healing potions. If we were to scroll down, we do have all of the maps here. As you can see, the Hill Giants checkpoint. Here's the town of Wheeldam, and the 2 different dragon encounter maps, the upper level and the lower level. So I gotta say, folks, for only basically the second release from this DM's Guild creator, having pulled 7 5-star reviews, also it's only $5, so that's not so bad. Also, there'll be an affiliate link in the description down below, so if you do go and click that link, it does help support Nerd Immersion as well if you pick it up from that link. So let me know what your thoughts are. Again, Storm King's Thunder is often touted as one of the best adventures written, at least so far for 5th edition. But again, I always found depending on your party, the sandbox style part of the adventure can be either very liberating and very exciting, or kind of daunting if your party just is lost for ideas of where to go. And this can be a nice little way to introduce them to what's going on with the giants, fun dragon fight, some kobolds, establish a new town, which could be a base of operations for them if you want it to be, and then also give them direction on where you want to go. So anyway, thank you to TM Vandalen for sending this over to me for review purposes. Thank you to all of you for watching. And also check in the description. I added a fun little thing via Stream Elements where I can have a little bar that shows the progression of my subscribers working my way towards 100,000. It also has a little thing there for the newest subscriber, which updates live down there, as well as the newest member if you click the join button and help support the channel that way. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.